Hey guys, welcome back to Life in Pink, where we break down all of the tea and drama surrounding your favorite reality TV moments and celebrities and popular culture. Alright, y'all, let's talk about this reunion clip from Love of Marriage Huntsville, where Carlos King straight up asks Trisha if she and Martell have ever slept together, and her response was a whopping head nod while shaking her head no.
Have you and Martell ever had sex?
No.
Have you and Martell ever kissed?
No.
Now, either Trisha doesn't know what a head shake is, or her body just clocked her teeth before her mouth could even cover it up. Let's analyze this whole entire moment and break down why I think her body language may have clocked her teeth. We're also going to talk about Ken, because there is no way this man is sitting next to Trisha watching her possibly lie about her past with Martell and acting like everything is fine.
Jody, you making all them chicks at my job have a reason to sit up there laughing at me.
My theory is Ken is holding on to Trisha not because he's necessarily deeply in love, but because of his pride and his fear of her maybe going back to her ex, Marquez. Just simply won't let him go. Alright, so let's get into it. When someone's words doesn't necessarily match their body language, that is a red flag to me. And Trisha nodding her head while saying no is textbook case of nonverbal incongruence, meaning that her body language and mouth are not in sync. And in situations like this, the body is usually telling the truth. Now, in my opinion, here are a few things that could be happening. Number one, it could be cognitive dissonance. Like if Trisha did sleep with Martell, but she doesn't want to necessarily admit that, her brain is in conflict. So she knows the truth, but is trying to suppress it, which could lead to her body language slip-ups, like a head nod while verbally answering no. Also, when people lie, their nervous system can, betray them. So her head nod could be her subconscious, spilling the tea before her brain even has a chance to reel it back in. And that's just in my opinion. However, I am no body language professional, so hey, you check it out and you let me know what you think in the comments. Because to me, the body language is giving liar, liar, pants on fire, okay? Even with her admitting to being at Martell's house a couple of times, the math still isn't mathing. Trisha's story just doesn't line up, and it's making me and probably a lot of you wonder what else is she not being honest about. What was it? Was it just a casual visit? Were you training him? Or was there something more going on that she's trying to hide? And if she's willing to lie about something as basic as how she knows Martell, what other truths might she be bending? Alright, so now let's get into Ken, because at this point I have some questions, and I'm sure a lot of you do too. My main one would be, how are you sitting next to your married girlfriend watching her get flustered over whether or not she slept with another man before y'all even got together, and you're just sitting there like everything is sweet? I mentioned my theory earlier that Ken is not holding on to Trisha out of love. He is holding on to her because of his pride, control, and possibly fear, especially the fear that if he lets her go, she'll go running right back to Marquez. And given what we've learned as far as text messages may have been exchanged between Trisha and Marquez, where she tells him she'll take him back in a heartbeat, I'm sure that's a very sore spot for Ken. Okay, so let's break it down. I think that Ken has put too much time and energy in to walk away now. If he admits that his relationship with Trisha isn't working, then that means he has wasted months, maybe years of his life on Trisha and money and his pride. And pride hates admitting when it's wrong. So instead of facing the truth, Ken is probably convincing himself that he has to stay, or it's worth it to stay, because leaving would mean taking an L. And not to mention that now it would be a very public L too. I think in reality, Ken's ego just won't let him admit that he may have picked the wrong one. Okay, so Trisha and Marquez have obvious history, and we know how hard it is to compete with history, especially when there are lingering feelings there and we can see that there are lingering feelings there on our screens. And I'm sure Ken knows that if given a chance, Marquez could in fact swoop in and reclaim his spot. And I'm sure that Ken has seen signs from Trisha that Marquez still has a hold on her. Like Ken seems, he seems emotionally aware enough to see that Trisha, there's still something there, and it's obviously a reason why she hasn't divorced the man yet. And whether it's bringing him up in conversations, comparing Ken to Marquez, or still being emotionally reactive to Marquez's name, Ken knows that there's something still there in a roundabout way. That's what I was trying to say. I just think Ken really wants to win, and this isn't just about love. It's about beating Marquez because in Ken's mind, he is the better man. So instead of walking away, Ken, I predict, is just gonna continue to stick beside Trisha, pretend to be unbothered, and hold on to a woman who may or may not still be emotionally tied to another man. Because we know that she is at least at one point was, never mind. Alright, so let's pivot and discuss Trisha's tension with Melody. Now came into the group with a chip on her shoulder when it comes to Melody. And it's not because of anything Melody has done directly. It's more so about what Melody represents, in my opinion. She is the ex-wife, the mother of Martell's children, the woman he publicly fumbled in the worst way. And let's not forget, Melody carries herself a certain type of way. And all of those things can trigger deep-seated insecurities in a woman who feels like she's competing for attention or validation for the same man as that said woman. So we can refer back to what Martell said about Trisha's looks. He said that basically he implying that she was given one thing online but something totally different in person. And I'm sure that had the sting. And if we're being honest, Martell does have a way of making women feel small when he's done with them. So could Trisha be deflecting that embarrassment by turning her frustration towards Melody? I think so. I think it's plausible. Absolutely. But again, it's just my opinion. From calling Melody trash and all this rah-rah ness she has for Melody, it's almost like she want to prove that she's above Melody, or that Melody isn't quote unquote all that. But let's be real, when you have to keep going out of your way to put another woman down, it says more about you and how you feel about yourself than her. And Trisha calling Melody trash wasn't just about Melody. It was about her trying to convince herself that she's superior in some type of way over Melody. But what do y'all think? Is Trisha dealing with some unresolved bitterness over Martell's rejection? Is she trying to force an issue where there is none with Melody? I guess we'll never know now since Melody has quit the show. But let's take this a step further. If Trisha is moving like this towards Melody unprovoked, mind you, could it be that she actually has a thing for Martell and prefers him over Ken? I don't know. It could be true. I don't know. If Trisha didn't care about Martell like that, why would she feel the need to go out her way to shade Melody? I'm just saying it's plausible. Because she coming in Melody with the energy of someone who feels personally affected by her presence. Like, that usually is a sign of unspoken emotions like jealousy, attraction, insecurity. Sometimes when a woman is secretly interested in a man, how she'll do one of two things. Like, she'll either compete with his ex or try to tear her down in an attempt to elevate herself. And Trisha seems to be trying to do both. Meanwhile, she's sitting next to her live-in boyfriend, and her husband is backstage getting ready to come out on stage next. But let's talk about how I think Martell's denial of knowing her embarrassed her, and how that kind of rejection can either make a woman resentful or make her want to prove herself to him. And that's what it feels like. And judging by how much space Melody takes up in Trisha's mind, it is definitely given she's trying to prove a point. So let's talk about it. Let's chat about it down in the comments. Did Trisha accidentally telling herself what they had not? And more importantly, is Ken a placeholder? Is he actually in love with Trisha, or is he holding out, holding out of pride or fear that she might go running back to Marquez shop? I don't know. But you may know, so I want to hear from you. Get down in the comments, let me know. Also, what do you think is her gripe with Melody? Like, I know at this point, like I said, it really doesn't matter because Melody will probably never run across Trisha again. But I still like to know your thoughts on what do you think Trisha issue is with Melody. Before you go, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to Life in Pink for more deep dives, analysis, and messy reality TV breakdowns. And I'll see you next time. Bye.